Hey everyone, what's up? It's once again it's MP4podcast.com, and a lot of people are talking about the original Green Lantern and that now he's gay. This Green Lantern is Alan Scott. This is the original. I don't even believe he has a ring. Now, I read a lot of comic books, but I haven't read all of them. There's a lot of comic books out there. Now, let me tell you something. There's always a lot of people who are out there who want to change a character so they feel more connected to a character. So they're trying to branch out. Now let me tell you why they're trying to branch out and why it's bad for Marvel and DC to do this. First off, we've seen characters turn white to black. Nick Fury, the Kingpin, and now we're seeing Alan Scott, who's gay now. People don't understand that Marvel and DC are really horrible companies. I'm not saying the writers or the artists or the inkers or the letterers or the people who work on the comic books are bad people at all. But I'm talking about the corporations of these companies. You have to understand that they took a lot of creativity from other people and they screwed these people. For instance, Stan Lee. Before the first Blade movie got into theaters, Stan Lee signed a contract that guaranteed him 10% of all the movie sales and all the, whatever toy lines, I guess maybe toy line, but I remember from the contract it was movies, probably even DVDs and whatever else was in the contract. And, so they paid him when the first Blade movie came out. Yeah, Blade 1 was a hit. It was a good movie. But it wasn't Spider-Man. Spider-Man made $1 billion. And Marvel decided they didn't want to pay him 10%. That's $100 million. I think they settled out of court, and it was a huge mess. Now, Superman, who was created by two guys, I believe they were brothers, if my memory serves me right. DC Comics screwed those guys, and the Superman movie with Christopher Reeves that was made in I believe the late 70s, the director told either DC Comic Books or Warner Brothers at the time, I'm not making this movie unless you give these guys a cut of the profits. You have to understand the reason why we have white characters turning to black, we have straight characters turning gay, is because nobody who works for Marvel or DC Comics will create a brand new IP. Ask yourself this one question. Would you want to create the next Spider-Man for Marvel Comics? Would you want to create the next Superman or Batman or Wonder Woman or the Flash for DC Comic Books? Would you want to create the next Hulk? Would you like to create the next X-Men from Marvel Comic Books? No, because you will not own the rights to it. Okay? You will not own the rights to those properties. Now, there are some exceptions, maybe, but it's real tricky. I know Marvel, I can't remember, it was an offshoot comic book under a different label, but Marvel owned it, I believe. And it was independent, and I think they were doing that to kind of compete with Image comic books. You have to understand, if you want to support black characters, you want to support gay characters, you have to support independent comic books, alright? Don't buy the issues where the Green Lantern's gay. Don't buy the comic books because Nick Fury's black, or any of this other stuff. Don't do it. Go and buy Image comic books, buy Dark Horse comic books, there's other independent comic books. I'm telling you guys, I have no idea why in the world, when people go to comic book stores, it's in their mind that they're going to get a DC or a Marvel comic book. I don't understand why these two companies control the comic book industry so much. The toy franchise, it boggles my mind. Ask yourself this: are you a Matrix fan? If The Matrix was a comic book, even before it got into a movie, it was independent, do you think you would have probably picked it up at the comic book store? Probably not. You probably would have picked up a Batman or a Superman or a Spider-Man or an Incredible Hulk or an X-Men comic book. Do you know that The Walking Dead is a comic book series? Some of you guys probably do know, who are, somewhat geeky, or maybe you follow some geek news or whatever. Do you know that Robert Kirkman also has a very popular comic book called Invincible? It's an absolutely amazing comic book about this teenager who's a superhero. He flies around, he has super strength and so. But it probably only sells 10,000 copies or 8,000 or 7,000 copies. I think I remember at the height of Walking Dead, it was only selling 12,000 issues a month. Where Spider-Man is probably selling 90,000 or a little bit more. And you have to also understand that these comic book companies have an investment in these IPs. So what they do is they reinvent them all the time. If we look at, some of you kids who are probably watching this video are probably a little too young, but there was a Robin called Jason Todd. And a lot of people in the readers didn't like him too much. So they decided to kill him in one of the Batman issues. And I believe they kind of made a movie about it. Came out a couple of years, one of the animated ones, but they had to bring him back. And one of the reasons why they always bring back these characters is because if they do not bring them back in a certain amount of time, they lose the legal rights to the name. They'll lose the right for the name Jason Todd. Okay? You have to understand, names are just regular names, so they have to use them within a certain amount of time to own the rights to them and then claim them. You also understand that Marvel and DC are real scumbags. They actually, I guess legally they follow the patent or whatever you want to call it. They own the word superhero. They co-own it between DC Comics and Marvel. So nobody from Image Comic Books, nobody from Dark Horse, Dark Horse, I think maybe they got the Goon or whatever. It's kind of a superhero. Nobody can use the word superhero. You can use heroes or, saviors or whatever the word is. Now, the word superhero was used long before DC or Marvel were even around, but somehow they're claiming it. They co-own the word superhero. When you go into a movie theater, you're always looking for something new that's fresh and exciting. When you go to the bookstore or whatever, you're looking for something that's new and exciting. But when people buy comic books, they're looking for the same stuff that's been on the shelf since, I don't know, the 30s or the 40s. So what I'm saying is, if you want a black superhero, read Spawn. That's an original black superhero. What's the one? Shadowhawk? I think Shadowline. It's in Image Comic Books. Let me going over the forums where Image Comic Book is. Jim Valentino, Shadowline. He's a gay character. Nobody buys his book that much. Why is that? Because it doesn't have the Marvel, DC logo on it. How about The Authority? There was 2 gay characters in The Authority, which was created by Jim Lee, or I'm not sure, he was co-created with somebody else. There was a character that's like Superman a little bit. I think he has the power of the sun, so he has yellow and white. And there was another character who was a little similar to Batman, where he could predict the moves if he was fighting somebody, all the different combinations, so he always basically won. 2 gay guys, they were actually lovers in that comic book series. Did anybody buy that? Anybody talk about that? But no. They talk about, either the DC ones or the Marvel ones. Is a character white turning to black? Is a character straight turning to gay? They do this to make, news in the comic book industry. Oh, we're revolution comic books. No, they're not. They can't create any new characters. Listen to what I'm saying. If you work for Marvel or DC, you would be insane to create a character for them that they would own. That's why they recycle these characters over and over again. Alright? That's why every 10, 15 years they do like another reboot or whatever it is. The House of M. What was the thing about a House of M? I think they were going to kill a mutant. They killed some low-level mutant. It's like, the big thing, we're going to kill one of the mutants or one of the X-Men or something. You know, if you want to kill somebody and go down in history, kill Wolverine and never bring him back. But they'll kill somebody who they know nobody really cares about. And then, of course, they're going to bring that character back in 17 years when nobody cares anymore. You know, Civil War by Marvel and DC. You know, it was like this. It wasn't even that big of a deal at the end. Marvel and DC. What am I saying? Marvel. I mean, Captain America and Iron Man. It's late, guys. I've been up all day, almost 2 days straight. Whatever. Can't think straight. But you know, that's what this whole thing is about. You know, they'll probably do something when they reinvent Superman again. They'll make him into a woman. You know, oh, we're going to reinvent him. This time he's a woman. You know, think about it. It's the same damn thing. So what if the Green Lantern's gay? He flies around and he has like friggin' energy powers with that. You know, I think that Green Lantern doesn't even have the ring, I believe. Somehow he's able to control it. I mean, he mastered it or something. But you have to understand, these companies have you brainwashed into thinking that they, you know, are so groundbreaking in what they do. No, they screw everybody. Okay? I believe the guy who created Blade actually tried to sue Marvel. Maybe he was probably in the wrong, but he's like, hey, this is making a lot of money. I actually created it. You know, I'm fine with other people creating the stuff if Marvel and DC say, hey, you know, we'll give you 10% every time this character makes some money. You don't even have to worry about the marketing. You know, you can retire and we'll even hire other people to write the comic books. You know, people would probably create new IPs for Marvel and DC. You know, who wants to go through all the hassle and all the bullshit, you know, trying to get a toy company to try and make your character into a toy or a video game or into a movie. Do all that. Let Marvel do all that stuff. You know, let DC take care of all that stuff. Make all the black characters you want, all the gay characters you want. But give back to the artists and the writers, or hell, give it back to the inkers or the letterers. Even give them like 1 or 2% on the comic book sales. When Todd McFarlane was working on Spider-Man, some of those issues sold 1 million or 2 million copies. Okay, this was the height of comic books. And Marvel used to give, you know, I guess the writers and the artists, or maybe in the whole team, a kickback on the sales. You know, maybe it was like 5 or 10%. So they had some incentive to keep on doing good work. I mean, now people, they do it because they love it and, you know, they're glad to have the job. But you have to understand, when Todd McFarlane created Venom, yeah, he created a character, you know, that fits into the Spider-Man world. Another character that kind of has spider powers. But it was still very revolutionary. But when Todd McFarlane went to create Image comic books and created Spawn, guess what? Marvel tried to sue Todd McFarlane, saying that Spawn was very similar to Spider-Man. Spawn has nothing to do with Spider-Man. Yeah, maybe he's standing on top of a building, but that's pretty much about it. Hell, Batman does that too. What I'm saying, guys, next time you go into a comic book store, buy independent comic books. Buy them from Image comic book. Buy them from Dark Horse. Buy them from some other company that you never even knew. Alright? There's a lot of creativity in the comic book world. But it's not all Marvel and DC. So that's all I'm saying, guys. Once again, this is MP4 Podcast. and I'm going to bed. Later, guys. Bye.